Hey guys, Volcanic here. Just wanted to talk about a game that I found to be very disappointing despite all of its hype. And that would be Dragon Age Inquisition. And I think the premise of the game is really cool. I like the way you can interact with other, NPCs and stuff like that. I think that the storyline is really cool, but what really bugs me is that it feels like it's a port. It's a poorly done port from consoles. And you can kind of see that in the way that your character moves when you try and use WASD to move. It's not very fluid, and every time I'm walking around the map, I kind of feel like there's always these mini invisible walls, unless it's a completely flat plane, or unless the hill is really rounded. But other than that, it feels like every time I have to walk somewhere, it's a constant struggle with the terrain. Don't click on someone, it will kind of auto target it, sort of, depending on where your camera's facing. And that's great, except when it decides to change targets on you. And that can be a problem, because if you wanted to, if you wanted everyone to focus fire on this one guy, or something like that, and there are a bunch of dudes next to each other, if you didn't click on your target, out in the reviews that I read for it and viewed for it, they all said it was fantastic and great, and a good mix between the tactical and the action RPG. And see, I think that's where the problem is that it doesn't have its own identity. It's trying to mix highly tactical role-playing game and an action role-playing game. And I think it can be done. I just don't think that Dragon Age did it very well. It's frustrating, because you essentially do need to click to target if you're using the combat. The control scheme is really strange. When you initially started, the default is, you have WASD to move, A and D rotates your character, Q and E makes you strafe, which is fine. But the big problem here is that when you're trying to interact with people or anything like that, it's right click. So you right click everything to interact, but you left click to shoot. But you also use right click to pan your camera around. So I guess the combat wasn't also that intuitive either. Now, I've played plenty of games, RPG games. I've played a lot of WoW, and I almost kind of compared it to WoW combat in the right click, left click. But the problem is left click will fire. So I played an archer. Will fire your bow. So there are a lot of times where I'll just shoot my bow off, not meaning to, because I just wanted to click on something. It doesn't work that way. Everything is interacted with the right click if it's the environment. And left click will always do your auto attack. Bosses, you want to set your guys up, but I guess it's just, to me, it was so annoying and not well thought out for the PC gamer. Now, my issues with this game are not the storyline or anything like that. It's more of just the mechanics. I like the storyline. The music is really good. The character development is nice, and character interaction is great. But what drives me crazy is the actual main gameplay. The mechanics, the battling, the fighting, all that's kind of, I don't know, lackluster. Moving around the map is annoying. It seems like they really focused on console, where I could see it being good on console. In fact, every review that I watched, they were either using a controller or it was from console. So maybe the secret here is to use a controller when you play the game, but even still, navigating the map is going to still be a pain in the ass, because you have all these mini invisible walls that you always have to fight around. You have to find the exact path to walk through something. You can't just walk over stuff. Another disappointing thing about this game is the multiplayer. Now, I know that Dragon Age has never had a multiplayer before, but they could have easily fleshed out the multiplayer. It has really good core to it, but it just ends up being a grind, an annoying grind. Like Diablo, that's a grind, but that's a fun grind. You get a lot of rewards, you level up quickly. There's a lot of stuff that, gives you that feeling of accomplishment, even though you're literally just killing people all the time and that's all you do. This is... it's just a terrible grind. And the game is designed for 4 people. So I played it with Jim. Okay. And if it's just the 2 of you, you can't get anywhere. You start on level 1. And the game is always designed for 4 people. They don't scale it. There's no scale. So, again, they could have used Diablo as a great way to, I guess, organize their game. Because Diablo did it very well. It scales with the number of people playing. You have, different difficulties, a lot of rewards, quick rewards, leveling up quickly, stuff like that. So it's kind of frustrating when you know that it could be a really, really fun multiplayer experience, but they kind of did a half version of it. They kind of said, oh, well, we can just throw this in and, it'll be fun that way. Not really. They didn't really flesh it out. There's nothing too spectacular about it. Yeah, you get, your inventory, and you get to level up your character, and you unlock other characters, and that's cool. I like that. But they really didn't think of it all the way. I guess they only considered the fact that people would only play it with 4 players. So if you have any fewer players, you're kind of out of luck. I mean, Jim and I were playing the first level, just 2 of us, and I mean, we could only get to the second room because we would just get wrecked by all the guys. Just the sheer number of people there. He was the original tank, and I was the mage character. We hadn't unlocked anything. And it just was constantly just doing that level over and over and over again, just to a point where we could manage the first area, and then we finally got past that. I guess it's just annoying to me when I know it really could have been a fantastic multiplayer experience. I was super excited for this whole game, and I just realized that I kind of wasted my $60 on it. It was just, whatever. But the point being is, the reviews said it was great. Everyone said it was great. And then when it comes down to it, it was just a disappointing console port. I guess I just feel that in this day and age, if you really sat down and thought about the game, and now I have absolutely zero experience in game development or game making or anything like that, but as a consumer, I've been playing games since I guess I was a little kid. But if they just kind of sat down and thought about the whole overarching thing. I mean, I understand they're under pressure for deadlines and everything like that, and that's one of the big problems, and that's kind of why I like this whole indie movement that we're going through right now. But we have the technology to create fantastic games. Shadow of Mordor. Perfect game. Fantastic game. If it had multiplayer, I would continually play it. It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto. Now, I don't have Grand Theft Auto 5 because I only play on PC. So I have to wait until January 27th. That's going to be fun. But even still, that Grand Theft Auto 5, awesome game. They did first person. That's great. And it's done well, which is even better. You know, those are some great games, and all it did was just someone to pull back and just look at it as just the big scale of what the game is, and just kind of fleshed it out a little bit more, or ironed out a little bit of the kinks. We're in the day and age where video games can encompass so much. We just got to really focus on it. So I mean, I guess that's one of the things that really annoys me about this game is it could have been so much better. It could have been so much better. With the technology we got and the skill that BioWare has, it could have been such a better game. And I think that's what is really annoying me, is that it had the potential to be a wonderful blockbuster game. But they really didn't think about it all the way. Anyway, guys, so that's kind of my thoughts on Dragon Age Inquisition. I was really excited for it. I really wanted to play it. But I really don't see myself playing it that much anymore. It's kind of a disappointment. I don't want to play a terrible console port. You know, it's I guess just a huge amount of disillusionment in here. But anyway, tell me what you think. Did you like the game? Do you like the game? How do you play it? Because I only play with the keyboard and mouse, and frankly, it's terrible with the keyboard and mouse. Everything, it was basically designed to use a controller. But yeah, so tell me what you think, guys. Like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.